Hi, I'm Devin. Thank you for joining me and taking a moment for movement. Today, our yoga workout will encompass stretches that lengthen and strengthen the quads, glutes, hamstrings, and hip flexors. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for more updates. Let's get started on our mat. Let's get started on our mat in hero pose or any comfortable seat. Roll your shoulders back and away from your ears and sit up nice and tall. Take a couple nice deep breaths. Interlace your fingers, reach your knuckles away from your shoulders, tuck your chin towards your chest. And release. Lift the shoulders up, lower the hands, bring them behind the back now, interlace them again. Roll the shoulders back, bring the shoulder blades together. Reach the thumbs away from your tailbone, open the chest and look upwards. Continue to breathe deeply. And release. Good. Let's reach the arms out at shoulder height. Circle the hands. And go the opposite direction as well. So we need to warm up our hands and wrists before doing our sequence. We'll be doing a lot of downward facing dogs. Good. And then I'd like you to bring your hands down to the mat in front of you, starting out under the shoulders, and rotate the fingers back. So they're pointing towards the back corners of your mat. So about 8 and 4 if we were looking down at a clock. So I want you to keep the thumbs connected, all edges of the fingertips connected with the mat, and just gently shift the hips back as far as you can without breaking that connection. So feeling a stretch through the forearm, through the wrist, and breathing deeply. Good. Let's lift our hips back up and lift our hands off of the mat, circle them around a couple more times. Now you're welcome to do that same position again with the hands turned out towards the outside corners, or if you're up for a little bit more intense stretch, rotate the fingertips back towards your knees. Again, it's important to have all edges of the hand in contact with the mat. So our movement here will be even smaller. Again, gently and gradually shift the hips back, keeping the hand connected to the floor, and now you'll feel a deeper stretch through the underside of the forearm. If this is too intense, of course, lean your hips forward, take some of the stretch out of that area. Good. Let's lift our hips up and circle the hands around. Excellent. Let's plant the palms now, fingers spread wide, fingertips forward towards the top of the mat. Curl our toes under, lift the hips up, and look back. So coming into our first downward facing dog, pedal your heels a couple times. Let your calves and ankles relax. And now we're going to do a couple leg lifts to build strength through the glutes. So I'd like you to inhale the right leg up, and exhale it down. Inhale left leg up, exhale down. So as we lift the legs, try not to let the rest of the body shift back and forth. Try and keep it steady and really lift from the glutes. So keep the leg straight, lift the heel high, turning on the muscles of the hips. More. And left. All right, now lift the right heel high, and this time as we exhale, step it forward, bring it between your hands. So we ideally have a straight line running across the top of our fingertips and toes. If the foot's not quite there, you can use your hand to kind of work it into place. But our knee should be stacked above the ankle, and if you find that your knee is ahead of the toes or directly stacked above them, walk your back foot back until we have the front knee over the front ankle. Okay? okay? So it's important to keep this stacked alignment, be the most stable and the most balanced on our mat, and we'll be able to get a little bit deeper into the back leg, hip flexor, and quad, which is really what we want to focus on. So hold the low lunge here and breathe deeply. Keep reaching back through the back heel. Excellent. Let's gently lower the back knee. And we're going to reach back with the opposite hand. So bend the back leg, reach back with the opposite hand, rotating the chest towards the front inner thigh, and look over your shoulder, look back towards your toes. So now you should feel that stretch intensify through the left hip flexor and quad. So continue breathing, continue dropping the hips down and forward, drawing the toes in a little bit closer to the tailbone if you can. Excellent. Let's release the toes. Bring the right hand forward, framing the foot, and we're gently going to push our hips back now. Straightening out the front leg, lifting the toes up towards the sky. Fold forward over the thigh, tuck the chin and look back towards your knee and back foot. And while you're looking back behind you, I want you to notice your left hip. It should be stacked over the left knee. Sometimes we have a tendency when we push back into this runner's stretch to drop our hips over to the side of the supporting leg. But try and lift them up and make sure the hip is directly above the knee. Breathe deeply here. And now I'd like you to really flex the front foot, drawing the toes up towards your shin. Feel that stretch shift from hamstring deeper into the calf. So hold it here, a couple more breaths. Excellent. Let's walk the hands forward, lower the toes to the mat, frame the foot, and now curl the back toes under and lift the knee. We're going to lift up into a high lunge with the legs in this position. However, if you need a little bit more support, you're welcome to lower the back knee back down, or for medium difficulty, we rotate the back heel to the mat. So it's a little bit less stable than with the knee down, but not quite as challenging as just the ball of the foot on the mat. So adjust accordingly based on how you're feeling today. You know your body best. Let's take a breath. And when we exhale, we're going to press down deeply into the front foot to turn on that quad and inch our hands and chest up. So roll your shoulders back, stack your shoulders over your hips, keep pressing through the front foot, keep the hips down and forward with the back knee straight if it's lifted off of the floor, and hold it here, breathing deeply. Excellent. Let's fold forward, bring our hands back down to the mat, and keep the left knee lifted. If you've lowered the knee or if you've lowered the heel, let's come back to our low lunge with the knee lifted, and keeping the left hand glued to the mat, we're going to reach our right arm straight up. So similar to that rotation with the foot hold we did earlier, we're rotating the spine, squeezing the shoulder blades together, creating a nice long line down the length of our arms. And you can look up towards the top hand, or you can look over to the right side of your room. Keep breathing deeply. Excellent. Let's lower that hand down. Gently lower the left knee. And one more time, lift the heel up, reach back with the right hand again, just as we did earlier on. Draw that foot in towards the torso. So you might be able to get a little bit deeper now that we've warmed up both the upper body, the rotation of the chest and shoulders, as well as the lower body, the quad, hip flexor, and hamstrings. Excellent. Well, let's let's release. Bring the right hand forward, frame the right foot, curl the left toes, and let's step back to downward facing dog. Pedal the heels. Notice that difference between the left hip flexor and the right. And now inhale, left heel high. Exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands. Come into that low lunge. Remember, create that straight line across the fingertips and toes. Adjust the back leg, maybe widening our stance to ensure that the knee is over the ankle. And hold the low lunge. Breathe deeply. Excellent. Let's gently lower the back knee to the mat. And here's our first rotation on this side. So turn on the right glute and hamstring to lift the right heel off of the floor, reaching back with the left hand. Grab a hold of the right foot and draw the foot in towards the tailbone. Keep your hips down and forward. Look over the left shoulder, rotating the chest towards the inner thigh. And let's release. Lower the foot, bring the left hand forward, and now shift the hips back for our hamstring stretch on the left side. So walk the hands back towards your torso, lift up the left toes, fold the chest, shoulders, and face down towards the left leg. Be mindful of this right hip. Don't let it sink over to the right, but instead it should be stacked directly over the knee. Flex the left foot, pull the toes in closer to the shin. Feel that stretch slide down to the back of the calf, Achilles, and breathe. Excellent. Let's walk our hands forward, lower the left toes to the mat. And now curl the right toes under, lift the right knee off of the floor, back into our low lunge. Hips are down and forward. You probably feel a little bit looser now. Take a deep breath. And from here, we'll lift into our high lunge. So keeping the legs where they are would be the most challenging, but again, you're welcome to lower the back knee or rotate the back heel to the mat as well for a little bit more support. Regardless of the back leg, let's turn on the left quad, and on our next exhale, press into the left foot, inching the hands up, rolling the shoulders back, stacking them over the hips, breathing deeply, finding a point to focus on, something just above our eye level. Now, just because we've lifted our arms and chest up doesn't mean we begin to straighten out that front leg. We need to stay low, down and forward through the hips. Back knee is straight if it's lifted off of the mat. Let's fold forward and lift the back knee if it's not already off of the mat. We'll add that spinal rotation again by lifting the left arm up, squeezing the shoulder blades together, looking straight to the left or up towards the left hand. This rotation comes from the upper body, not from the lower body. And let's lower the left hand down. Now we'll lower the right knee. And one more time, bend the right knee, lift the right heel up, reach back with the left hand. So opposite hand is holding the foot. Draw the foot in towards the tailbone. Keep your hips down and forward. Look over the shoulder for that foot and breathe. Let's release. Lowering the foot, bringing the left hand forward, curl the right toes, press into the palms, into the right toes, step the left leg back, hips up, heels down, breathe deeply. And let's lower our knees down to the mat, relax our hips back on our heels, and take another nice deep breath. Excellent job today. I hope you enjoyed this quick stretch to open up and release the quads, glutes, and hip flexors. If you haven't already, please subscribe.